On the 27th of February 2025, the 10th world chess champion Boris Spassky died at the age of 88. And in this video, I want to take a look at a couple of his best games played during his lifetime. First, couple quick remarks on who he was. Well, an absolute legend of the game. Well respected, well loved by everyone, known as a gentleman as well as a legend of chess. And of course, he came an absolute massive star of chess when he beat Tigran Petrosian to win the World Chess Championship in 1969. That's what you can see in this article here. Iron Petrosian, as he was known. And then, of course, we had the match of the century. Played against Bobby Fischer in Reykjavik, Iceland, or do you say Reykjavik? I don't know, right? But that was a legendary match, which Fischer won and became champion. Then, of course, he never defended it. Karpov became champion. But okay, Spassky cemented his place in the annals of chess history. And we're going to look here at a couple of his greatest games. So this first one was played in Belgrade 1970. It was a USSR versus the rest of the world game, top board, playing Bent Larsen. It's a cracker. We're going to dive in and then we're going on to this one I'll introduce in a moment. Let's first dive into this game here. So Bent Larsen playing pawn b3. I believe he was Swedish if I'm not mistaken. This of course is now known as the Larsen opening. Gets some different names, but that's one of the big ones. Bishop b2. We know Hikaru loves this. You explode the center with c4. The knight develops. Spassky's playing black here, and he now kicks on with the pawn. Knight d4, bishop c5, and we see an opening mistake early in the game. Chess was different in the early 70s. Even the top guys went wrong. This is actually the best move. Hit this pawn, and after castles e3, if you go d5, looks like you're in big trouble, where you can take, hit this guy in exchange for this guy. But okay, after this move of bishop c5, knight f5 was missed. So we see takes on c6 here. This way was captured so that you actually open the queen here, and it becomes very uncomfortable for white. E3 played, but hard to achieve this pawn break. So bishop f5 from Spassky, really clamping on the light squares here, making d4 really tough. We see queen c2, queen e7, bishop e2, and now okay, castle's queenside. They didn't have Andrea Botes back in the day, but whoever the top DJ was in 1970, you can bet they'd have been spinning the beats at this point in a silent hush hush, they're playing chess kind of way. And now a very, very unusual move here. Knight c3, castle's queenside, playable, but no, we get pawn f4. We've not seen a move that strange since Tony Miles decided to play chess from a bed at a Super Grandmaster tournament. Now the idea here is that you can't take on Croissant or the bishop drops with check as well. So we see instead knight g4, and it's route A chess. Hands up, or I was about to say how many of us, or hands up if you're playing pawn h3 here, right? Massive mistake, because then the queen comes slamming in. Whoops, thought I had the line prepared. It's so bad that I didn't. You check, and of course if you go this way you get mated. If you go this way, there's a horrible fork. Really not nice. So don't do that. G3 was selected to cover the queen invasion, but now H5, taking that tin opener to the king side. H3 now played, and this is why this game is known as the Immortal Pawns attack. We don't see the knight retreat here. Instead, Spassky plays pawn h4. This is awesome because he's sacrificing the knight, which is taken, and then offering a second piece after he takes on g3 here. The bishop's also hanging, but no time to take it, or you take here and you force the bishop to block because the king can't come here. Then g2 comes. So that's why we see rook g1. If you took the rooks off, it wasn't helping. The second rook was slamming down. And now a brilliant move here. Test your calculations, your tactical awareness. How do you continue the attack? Do you move the bishop? Do you bring the queen in? Well, the move to play here, found by Spassky, is rook h1. Now that is awesome, because if captures played, forced by the way, if you go king f1, then you run into the queen invasion and you're about to get mated. Not long for this world. So we do see takes, and now the pawn h1 pushes on. This is the point. I mean, how can this possibly work, right? Surely the rook just escapes and everything's fine. But no, you've got this awesome check from the queen. Laser beaming down the diagonal. These squares now taken, so the king goes, and then this is the most swashbuckling move. You know, takes. You get absolutely destroyed. That is a checkmate. So we wouldn't see a takes, but even so, what to do? You know, you can play this to give the king room, but still you die. This kind of thing. You can even save the bishop before making the next queen. It's absolutely horrible. So if we run back here, after rook takes on h1, pawn g2, we get rook f1, desperately tried, but now anyway a check. Now this king goes to d1, and after takes here, making the queen, we saw resignation, because after bishop takes, then you bring in this bishop with check, king goes, and now you mate like this. And if you tried to block with the bishop here instead, well, still you checkmate with this move, bishop's pinned. Awful position. What a game by Spassky. A miniature ended in 17 moves. Now that's quite something. Larsen was an incredible player, and we're going to jump now to a second brilliant game. So let's go here. This was played in, what was it, the 41st Soviet Championship, 1973, so just after he'd lost the title to Fischer, and he was playing this guy, Nukim Rashkovsky. Don't know that guy, but a decently strong player for the time. You know, ratings have been inflated over the years. And how about this for a nice little miniature? Where are we? This board here. So e4 opening by Spassky. We get a Sicilian. We're going to rattle through these moves because it's some standard looking stuff. The bishop g5 line played. The most favourite. F4 the follow-up. Now that's aggressive. Are we still in book here? Don't know. At some point we disappear from book. It looks like black is doing everything right, you know, developing the pieces, looks a classic pawn structure, but here you should castle queenside. Apparently bishop e7 however selected, and despite the stability of the black position, bang, e5, and the whole position just starts collapsing, because although the knight finds a square here, you can chop off this bishop and you're luring the king out into the open. If knight takes, you're going the wrong way. Queen g4 comes, a big attack rumbles on. So what do we see here from Nukim? He takes on c3, trying to nuke him, Boris Spassky, but do we see the knight recaptured? No, we don't. We're not going to go down that whole line. It's still good for white, but instead we see the way cooler move, queen g4, and it just leaves a second rook to hang, which is taken. It is the best line. You know, we won't explore king takes here. The queen crashes through. We'll stick with the game because after captures on d1, still we don't see this one captured. Still we don't see this one saved. Still we don't see queen takes. No, we don't. What's the move here? Very well done if you can see this one coming. Haven't seen the game before. The move to play is knight takes on e6. What an absolute cruncher. Hits the queen. Now if takes is played, which we didn't see in the game, then this seems to be the follow-up. Hit the queen. Allow this check here, king runs away. Now when you run it here with the Silicon Overlord, it suggests that the position is just drawn. You know, here's one sample line. I mean, I say drawn, you know, it gives it level zeros, but anything could happen. White's a rook down, but okay, huge play against the king. This rookie's stuck in the corner, and you've got like, what, 3 pawns for the rook? So it is a very interesting, balanced compensation. But after knight takes, we didn't see it recaptured. Instead, the queen just moves away from the attack, but it's a big mistake, as you can see, because now takes with check is played, hanging the entire bishop. But now you follow up with this check and look at the king. It's woefully boxed in, right? It didn't move back to f8, but what if it did? Well, now you can hop backwards and you threaten 2 different kind of checkmating ideas. You know, if the rook tries to block one square, you checkmate here. If the queen tries to block this square, square, then you checkmate down here. Okay, apparently that's not best, but this is still good. But the queen can get back. Running back here, you can even, what can you do? Okay, e6, even more brutal apparently, but you get the general idea. It's a great big mating attack on the way. So we run it back. After the check, we see pawn f6 played here. Very smelly move, usually frowned upon by all of the top grandmasters. And after takes, it's not a single check, it's a double check. We see it said twice at the board here. Now the king scurries back to d8. If you steps forward to d6, by the way, then there's rook e6 supported by the knight, and you win the queen. So we see a step back. Now we get this check, a discovered check once more, and where to go with the king. You know, we see it run to c7. If you go to the back rank, then the rook is invading. Take, supported by the knight. It's horrible. So king c7 was tried, but now check, and it forced a resignation in this position. Again, if you go to the back rank, the rook is coming. If you come to b6, the rook is coming, supported by the knight. It's awful, and just to show you this line, still you check, takes, but queen takes, and that's a checkmate on the board. So this was the final position. 2 miniature gems, beautiful chess by Boris Spassky. What a player, what a man, and he'll be missed in the chess world. Hope you enjoyed this video. Do have a look at the one on screen if you want some more epic chess, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.